Hello everyone, welcome to our first episode of Experience Exchange with the lovely Janet, the owner of Tamrose Roots. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, we made sure to put green lights for you and we'll explain why. So tell us, what is Tamrose Roots?
So my little business, Tamrose Roots, is basically when my obsession with plants started. And I recognized that a lot of rare and harder to find plants are so expensive. So I decided to buy those plants, propagate them, and then sell them to the community at a lot more affordable pricing. So that way I can break my bank for them so they don't have to.
So basically you sell baby plants.
Yes, all starter plants. Mm-hmm.
Yes, so we have Mother here. We also have Mother here. Who is this?
This is Gaia. I definitely am put her into a lot of my work. She is the one that actually guided me into developing this relationship with plants, and I appreciate her so much. Every time I touch a plant, I look at a plant, I just think of her. So she's a really big part of my life.
Yes, so exciting. So with just like your attraction to plants and just like your amazing green thumb, I would feel like maybe you have some earth energy in you, but tell us, what's your big three?
So my big three is I am a Libra rising, like Miss Jen.
Yes, twins.
I am a Scorpio sun and a Taurus moon.
There we go. Ding, ding, ding. The Taurus moon for the green thumb. And how did we meet? We met at a coven meeting. Yeah,
we did. It was super fun. At Abracadabra, I actually put myself out there. I went out here on my own because I really just wanted to connect with more spiritual people, and I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity for me to open that. And then plus I have been manifesting to get connections with more spiritual people. And oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did, because I met you and I met so many other people, and I just have such an amazing group of friends now because of that. It was the best decision I ever made, for sure.
And we met each other before Kythera Collective was a thing and before Tamrose Roots was a thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we've been there from the start. I'm so happy. I was also really scared to go. I knew like a few people, but I was like, what's this gonna be like? Because even though we do juxtapose that I'm the mystic and David is the skeptic, I still have some skepticism, and I'm like, oh God, this isn't a cult, is it? How did you feel walking in? Were you nervous?
I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
And but I know about this because I met Sarah and we just clicked so well. Well, I mean, she's a Scorpio too, so
hell yeah.
So when she told us about that, I was super intrigued. I told my fiance all about it, and he's just like, go for it.
Aww.
See what happens. And yeah, like I said, it was the best decision I've ever made. So
awesome. Yes. So I was going to ask if the plants were a part of your spiritual journey, but it definitely sounds like it. So could you tell us a little bit about how you started walking in your spiritual authenticity?
Absolutely. So the way I was raised Catholic. So
same.
the thing about it is, you can't dabble with that because it's the devil's work or whatever.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I always had an attraction to it. Like, I wanted to know about what is not supposed to be known. I love learning about the taboo.
Yes.
So I really didn't get into it until I want to say maybe 6-7 years ago.
Oh wow.
So I always wanted to be a part of it and just do research, but I was always with people that didn't agree with it, and they told me that I was forbidden to do that kind of stuff.
So you were in the broom closet?
Yes. So
nice.
I was definitely like in that place where I just felt there was something missing. But once I got out of a situation and I said, you know what? I can actually do this now. And when I started, I never looked back. It has just progressed so much from there.
Would you say you're happier now than 7 years ago when you started?
Oh my gosh, I'm a completely different person from who I was 7 years ago. So yes, absolutely.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And I started my practice, I would back in 2019. So 5 years ago. So we've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah, for sure. It's quite an experience for sure. It opens your eyes and your mind so much, and you just look at the world differently. You really do. It's not just waking up, going to work, having some fun or whatever. There's just so much more to life than just going to work.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Yeah, work should not be your whole personality. Like, you are a whole worthy, amazing, interesting human besides it. So would you call yourself a green witch, or would you put any label on yourself?
I was really thinking about that because, I mean, with what I do, it's definitely more green witch vibes, but I also do other things too. So at first, when I first started, I considered myself an eclectic witch since I was dabbling in a whole bunch of things and just creating it as my own. But I think I could say that I'm leaning more towards a green witch now because I really am super intrigued and want to include my plants in my practice so much more. So you can call me more like a hodgepodge witch, just like kind of like everything, but very much more towards plants. So I guess I would call it an eclectic, but I do like the title green witch for sure.
That's definitely why I wanted to have you on here, because you're the only person that I know that is like the closest thing to a green witch, and just including plants in your spirituality. Like, that's so cool. So we already talked about Mother Gaia here. Who else is on your spirit team?
So I have quite a team, actually. So before I even got with Gaia, I was working with Nyx, which she is the goddess of the night.
Nice.
She actually helped me a lot with my shadow work.
Oh,
so she is the one that really cracked open my Pandora's box and got me started on my healing journey.
Yeah.
So it was very intense, but I thank her very much. She is no longer on my team, but I always remember her. Like, I'll never forget who she is. The next one on my team was actually kind of weird. It was Lucifer. So Lucifer came around, and he is the light bringer. So he is very much into being truthful, being authentic, having the courage to say it, and, you know, just standing your authenticity without any apologies.
Love that. Love that.
So I definitely needed that because my self-esteem was definitely down. So during my healing journey, I'm just kind of climbing up. So after that, I can definitely speak my mind now, and, you know, I'll be like, I said what I said.
Hell yeah. Period.
So,
standing on business. Yes.
So then after that, so Nyx and Lucy are no longer with me, but I always remember them. I did ask Lucifer, actually, if he was going to bring someone for me. He did say yes, but he didn't tell me who. So left that alone. And then when I came to the coven meeting, I was seeing a lot of symbolism, and apparently I had a lot of symbolism around me. And when I met Vanna,
shout out
Vanna, she's top tier, super knowledgeable woman. I talked to her about it, and I was getting called by Hecate, the goddess of witches.
Nice.
The torchbearer. So when I started working with Hecate, she has really got me into more knowledge on spell work. So whenever I do anything with candle magic, anything to do with just spells and magic in general, Hecate is definitely there, and she is very present. So we have Hecate, and now we have Gaia. Gaia came in. So It was like a light switch to me, because I was never a person to have a green thumb. Like, I stayed away from plants.
I thought you were like growing plants since you were a little kid.
Oh, no,
like a little
girl.
bean in a cup. That's what I imagined baby Janet to do.
No, I had no green thumb.
Oh, when did this happen? Okay, when did you start with plants? Side tangent.
So I started with plants about, let's see, we've been in the house almost a year. So it was about 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened. I'm just going through my day, and it was like a light switch. And something just said, I want plants.
Nice.
So one plant turned into two, turned into 20, and I don't even know how many plants I have now. Definitely over 50 plants for sure. And
Wow.
I wanted to know why I was getting this call because like I said, I never had a green thumb. And I did a meditation, and Gaia presented herself very strongly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, I actually brought it up to Vanna, and she placed in that connection. But I have just been so in love with Gaia, especially just knowing who she is and what she stands for. Just like the earth, like we are here because of all that she is, you know, and we're all one. So it's very cool.
So when people see the image of like Mother Earth, which is like the lady sitting like crisscross and she's like pregnant, but she's pregnant with that's Gaia,
That
right?
is Gaia.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I do have one more that I want to mention because he actually does like the attention. It is who Lucy brought to me. So he is, I consider him, I don't like calling him a demon because he's not. He's a fallen angel to me.
There you go.
So it's King Paimon. So
Oh, wow.
he is with the Goetia, and I work with him, and he has really helped me out. And the reason why Lucy brought him is because King Paimon is actually the most loyal to Lucifer.
Oh.
So that's why he's on my team. And oh my goodness, he is definitely like king vibes. He's a little bit of a spoiled brat, but you know, I can do it. I can handle him. But he's been very happy with me. He's really helped me on my journey as well. And just anytime that I want to know more information, and it's hard for me to find the information that I need, I work with him, and he just like brings that knowledge to me so quickly.
Nice.
And he's very protective. Very, very protective.
It's so interesting. The trend I see is that like the first 3 deities that you worked with were a bunch of shadow work. Shout out to our shadow work episode that just came out. Yeah. And then once you finally maybe got to a more healed version of yourself, then Gaia presented herself, and now you have enough in your cup to nurture these little baby plants.
Oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way. You know,
So
like,
cool.
see what I mean? It just opens me. So yeah, I didn't really think about it that way, but it's pretty amazing. So I think for now, that's all I'm going to share about my team. I know there's some more, but this is as much as I'm willing to share right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you always been so in tune with like your spirituality, your psychic gifts? Like I've mentioned before, like when I was a kid, I would get like a lot of weird premonitions and feelings and stuff. Was that the case for you?
Yeah. So it started when I was 5 years old, when we lived in Mexico.
Shout out Mexico.
Hey, Michoacan.
Hey.
So I started seeing shadows. I started seeing things. It was very weird because I knew what I was seeing, but I didn't want to tell anyone because we were raised to, if you don't have anything important to say, don't say anything. Don't bother the adults. So
Shut
I
up, kid, basically.
right? So it's always been with me. And through the years, I have always seen figures, and sometimes it would come and go. So I remember one very specific. I was probably around 15 years old. I was at home by myself. I had the lights off. I was watching TV. And I kid you not, there was a gigantic shadow of a man that was standing there. And I could see him. And as soon as I turned, he was gone. But it didn't bother me. I was like, he's just coming and going.
Wow.
So it never bothered me. But then after a while, actually, I started hearing things. I started hearing things. It was very weird because they'll talk to you like as clear as day and you can hear it. So one that I really remember was at work, and there's like this, there's a wall, right? And I was just working, and all of a sudden I just hear in my ear, hello. Clear as day.
Hello, is anyone there?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. It was so weird. So I was just like, yes. So I acknowledge them so they know that I can hear them.
Oh, wow.
And then again at my same place. Okay, you know what? That job, there was totally some weird stuff going on in there, and I appreciated it because it was fun. So I was on the phone calling a customer, and the phone went silent because it was ringing. I was calling someone, and then a light started blinking to a line that we don't even have, that didn't even work.
That never rang?
No.
Oh my gosh.
And it connected it, and it's like, hello? And I was like, hello? And there was like nothing there. And it was weird. I'm like, okay. And a coworker standing right next to me. And I'm like, somebody just said hello on like line 5, and there's nobody on line 5. Line 5 is like upstairs, and it doesn't even have a working phone. And I would freak her out a lot. So she's like, stop talking to me like that. I was like, what? It just happened. Yeah, it was very weird. So I do see a lot of things. I actually have a lot of dreams too.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So I had people's loved ones come through to me, and I don't even know who they are.
Oh, shit.
So the first time that actually happened, it was with an ex. So I was sleeping, and I was like in my house, and I was looking out the window, and there was like an image of this really tall man in a black hat. And in my dream, I told him, I was like, hey, somebody is across the street. And he was just like, oh, that's just my uncle so-and-so. And I was like, okay. So I woke up, and there was a phone call when I woke up, and it was his mom. And it turns out that his aunt passed away in her sleep. And she had a twin, which was her brother. And that image, we had a picture on the wall, and he was wearing that black hat.
Oh, wow.
He came to come and get her.
Wow.
It was so weird because I never met that man.
Oh, wow.
I've never met him in my life, and he came through to me, and I told him about it. And then she passed away.
Oh, wow.
And she was completely healthy. She had her church clothes out on her bed and everything.
She was ready to go to church the next day?
Yes.
Oh,
And
my gosh.
her brother came.
How
They were
tragic.
twins. They were twins.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, she passed away in her sleep. It was
Wow.
so weird.
I've heard that that's a common occurrence, that like people pass away, especially like if they pass away overnight, then they visit people in their dreams to be like, peace out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I had another one too, actually, with Michael. I was taking a nap on my living room floor, and I had a dream of somebody saying the name Mama Jean, Mama Jean, Mama Jean. I'm looking for Mama Jean. Where's Mama Jean? And like I woke up, so Michael's in my room, and I'm like, I just had the weirdest dream. And I told him about it, and he looked at me like a deer in the headlights. And he's just like, that's my dad's mom's name.
And you didn't know this?
I did not know that.
Holy crap.
I didn't know. And I'm like, well, someone's looking for her or whatever. But, you know, that woman has been trying to come across to us for a while, because she actually tried to come across to his mom, too.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, it's super weird. I'm like, why do I keep getting these connections? It's so strange. But I love it.
Yes.
And I embrace it.
Yes.
And I'm honored, really,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But it's very weird.
Yeah.
Even one time I went to the dentist, and I was getting work done, and I heard a woman's voice, something about, it was saying somebody's name like JJ, JoJo, something like that. And they said, oh, tell him I'm okay, right? And I'm awake. I'm not put under. I'm awake. And I get
No
this
laughing
message.
gas.
No laughing gas, no nothing. I wish. So when I left the dentist, almost, the guy that was there with me, his name started with a J, and I think that was his nickname.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to tell him, but I didn't want to freak him out. So
Yes.
missed opportunity. I really wish I would have told him. I don't know if maybe somebody just recently passed away, and he just won't, you know, this woman wanted to let him know that she was okay. But I didn't tell him because I didn't want to freak him out.
I feel you, because sometimes I'll get messages and I'll always ask for consent, like, hey, I have a message for you. And if I get something strong like that, I'm not going to charge people, because
Right.
that's just extortion at that point.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, I got a message for you, or like I feel like I need to pull some cards for you. Like, would you be okay with that? And then you have to respect their answer. And you temperature gauge the situation. You're like, this isn't really appropriate. I don't know him like that.
Yeah,
So.
it was weird, and at that time, I already met Michael. I don't know if we were already together or not, but I was still really fresh on my journey, and the fact that I was just getting these really strong messages, like, It made me feel like, even now to this day, I think about it and it makes me feel so bad. Like, man, I should have told them, but it's okay. I'm sure that the message got across some way or another.
They find a way.
They will find a way.
People are like, oh my God, my grandma really loved butterflies, and like a butterfly fell on my nose, you know?
Yeah.
They'll find a way. Do you think that, you know, you and I have very strong, like, intuitive gifts that we've accepted? Do you feel like anyone can be intuitive?
Absolutely. They just really need to accept and be open to it. I mean, it can be a little scary, especially if you're not something that you're used to. It can definitely be a little scary. But anybody can do that. Everybody can tap into that. Everybody can tap into their third eye, but it's just allowing it. You know, and placing themselves in that space to really receive the messages. Yeah, anybody's capable of doing it, for sure.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why you're in my inner circle, because I don't accept people that are like, I am the chosen one, I'm better than all you hoes. Like, no.
I don't like that.
No. Yeah, we definitely stay with grounded people.
For sure,
yeah,
for sure.
We have a good community going here. Yes. All right, so could you tell me how you incorporate your spiritual practice into the plants that you have now?
Yes. So anytime I do any type of plant maintenance, waterings, it is all devotional work to Gaia.
Oh, cool.
Every time.
Nice.
I make sure that they're okay. I mean, you know, it's with plants, it could be a little iffy, especially if they're more rare, they're more sensitive. So I try to give them the best environment. But yes, absolutely. I always incorporate Gaia into my plant care. She's a big part of that, for sure.
So when someone buys a plant from you, would you say that they're getting like a blessed plant?
Yes. Yeah? Absolutely. Yeah, those are all her babies and they're my babies, and you know, they're all grown with love and the best that I can give them.
I will say, so I don't know much about plants. I bought a begonia because it was red and black, super cute. It's a tropical plant, and I was like, this would be cute for Persephone. I bought it and it died. That begonia was begone. I brought it to Janet because I was like, hey, can we revive this? She's like, girl, no.
It's gone. She's gone. She left a long time ago. Yeah, no, even I personally don't mess with begonias because they're just so sensitive. They are absolutely gorgeous, though.
Yeah.
There's so many varieties of begonias, and I want to get into that, but you know what? I will one day, and I will conquer it. And I will have a bunch of begonias in my house too.
Hell yeah.
Make room, baby.
You were kind enough to give me a replacement plant because she's like, oh, honey, no.
Yeah, let's hook you up with something more forgiving.
Absolutely. So she taught me how to propagate, and now I have a baby that I'm propagating for Raphael, and then the main plant is in my Persephone corner of my altar.
Yay, I'm so glad.
Yes.
I'm really happy about that.
What advice would you give to maybe like 15-year-old you who started feeling all of these emotions, all of these things, and was like, what the hell is going on?
Oh boy, 15-year-old me, she was mad. She was a very angry
emo, angsty teenager.
Yeah, definitely. Very misunderstood, very neglected, very abused. If I could talk to her, first off, I would give her the biggest hug.
Oh.
And I'd be like, girl, we're going to be good.
Hell yeah.
And when I started my my healing journey with Nyx, first thing I healed was my inner child.
Amazing.
Very much. And she comes out all the time. She's just a little goofball and is not afraid to be herself.
Oh, I love that.
And with my teenage self, she is heard, she is validated, and she is happy. So she's not mad anymore.
Oh, that's amazing. As a teenager, were you like an emo kid or like a scene kid, or?
I was very quiet.
Oh, you were quiet.
I was very to myself. I wore like baggy clothes and big baggy sweaters, even in the summertime, because I was very self-conscious of my body. Because anytime I tried to step into my feminine when I was a teenager, I was told that it looked ugly, that I looked bad in it. Why are you wearing stuff like that?
Wow.
Yeah, right. It's terrible. So my self-esteem was just to the ground. So I didn't think that I could ever be a beautiful person. But fuck that. I'm good now.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna dress right now.
Yeah, you're gorgeous as fuck. Of course.
Thank you.
I feel like my teenage self was the same. Very angsty, very low self-esteem. Also resonate to the like long sleeves in the summer. But eventually I just realized like it doesn't really matter what I look like, because no amount of like baggy clothing is gonna hide how I look. So you might as well start wearing what you want and living your best life.
Accentuate your beauty.
Yes.
So, I mean, honestly, when I started really healing myself, and shout out to my babe because he really did help me with my my feminine, me like coming out into my feminine. He was definitely a big part of that.
Oh wow.
And it's only been, I want to say maybe 2 years ago since I started wearing dresses.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to never wear dresses. I was very, very scared. Not even a swimsuit. I would always wear like the shorts with a big t-shirt and stuff, and I started stepping into that. It was very scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I love the way I looked. And I'm like, what was I so afraid of the entire time? So, you know, you wake up and it's just like, who cares what people have to say? If you feel good in it, wear it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if both our teenage selves met back then, we definitely would have been friends, just like we're friends now.
For sure.
But I think both our teenage selves would be so proud, like, oh my god, y'all are professional witches?
Right?
What the hell?
Happy.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes. We're living our best life and we have amazing partners.
Yes.
How does your partner feel with all of your, like, spirituality, witchiness, now your plant business? Like, it's a big part of you.
It is. So when I first met him, I told him right off the bat,
oh, great,
that I do this, because some people don't like that, you know?
Yeah.
And he found it very intriguing. The
nice.
first thing that intrigued him is that I asked him what his sign was when we first met.
Oh.
And he just gave me the look like, what? So he told me, and the first time he actually came over so we can hang out, I showed him my little altar. It was so tiny. It was so cute. Just like my little bowl, my little crystals and my Palo Santo and my cards and my oracle cards. And, you know, we would talk on the phone and be like, hey, I gotta go. I gotta meditate. And he'd be like, okay, cool. Just call me back when you're done.
Aww.
Like, it was never something weird. He was so accepting, and he still is.
Amazing.
And he encourages me a lot because he has allowed me to kind of step outside of my comfort zone, you know, and that's how I really got out there and actually sold my plants. And the first time I went out there, I sold out.
Amazing.
And it was so great. And it just made me think like, you know what? I can do this.
Absolutely.
So the best man I've ever met, for sure. Healthiest relationship ever. So I love you, babe.
What is his sign again?
He is a Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
Which,
nice.
you know, Saggies and Scorpios usually don't mix, but his rising is in Gemini, which mine is in Libra. And then my moon is in Taurus and his is in Pisces.
Oh, perfect.
So very, very good.
Very
and then
compatible.
plus you did the whole compatibility thing.
Yeah.
It works.
I did a reading for them, yeah. Yeah, very, very interesting, very good compatibility.
Yes.
Is he spiritual himself?
He is. He, not as much as I am, but he is definitely curious and wants to dabble into it, but he's still having a hard time knowing how to start. But he is definitely open to it.
Luckily, he has you to guide him.
Exactly.
Amazing.
I got you.
Yes, absolutely. Would you say that your journey was very lonely at first, or did you immediately like try to find community?
Oh no, I was very solitary. So because I just didn't know if there was like really accepting people for that. So yeah, I was alone a long time when it came to my practice until I met you guys.
Oh,
I finally made some witchy friends, so it was super fun.
how did you get, since we both grew up Catholic, how did you get over the Catholic guilt? Like,
Girl.
it got me for the longest time. Like, every time I would pass a church, I'd be like, even though I don't believe, I'm just like, I gotta do this thing.
It's automatic.
Yes,
Oh man.
yes.
You know, I actually really stopped going to church probably when I was a teenager, and I asked my mom, and I'm like, Mom, how would you feel if I didn't want to be a Catholic anymore? And she's just like, you know what? As long as you believe in God. And I'm like, well, luckily I do. I believe in many. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Surplus of belief.
Right.
Oh wow.
But that was a long time ago. Yeah, definitely did the first communion and all that, and it sucked. I hated it. I did not feel like I was a part, especially with like sexuality. You know, that was a big thing. And fun fact, my very first crush was actually my best friend back then in elementary school. I still cannot find her. We lost connection years ago. But she was actually my first crush. And then I had a crush on a boy. And then I was just like, what's going on? So I was very confused. And when I learned for what that was, it made me feel guilty because of how we were raised. Like, oh, that's wrong. You're going to go to hell. And I was very, very confused. But yeah.
I also had a similar experience with the church. Also being queer myself, I was just like, there's something wrong with me. I don't know about you. I tried to pray the gay away. I really did for like many, many years.
I just pushed it to the back burner. I'm like, it's not happening. So I didn't pray for it, but I was just like, I'll just ignore it.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also just felt like I was just born wrong, period. And I was just like, oh man, I don't know how I can like ever make up for it. And then eventually I was just like, this isn't for me. Like, I know I'm a good person, and like if I love another person, like I love them with all my heart. So what does it matter what their gender is if my intentions are pure? And
exactly.
So yeah, that, and also just like not being able to understand like all my psychic gifts and stuff. I was like, I don't think this is for me.
Very confusing time for the both of us.
Yeah.
We're just like, what is going on? But you know what's weird? Speaking about back then, I remember when I was very young and I actually was praying that I wanted to be different. And I'm like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be different. And that is around the time when I actually started seeing stuff.
Interesting.
Because I opened myself to that. And it's like, oh, you want different? I got you. There you go. Good luck, girl.
Oh, wow.
We'll see where this takes you.
Wow. Amazing. Something that is really interesting about you, you're also really big on protection magic.
Oh, girl,
I feel like just Scorpios, shout out to our past Scorpio episode, like, they're very protective. That's like, at their best, they're discerning, and then at their worst, they're like defensive. But yeah, you do a lot of good defense magic. Sometimes when I've tried to read you, like, there's no signal. Like, I can't connect the little antennas, like, hello? Yeah, so you actually have to like not do your stuff that day if you want a reading, right?
So like today I'm not wearing any of my protective oils. Because I knew I was gonna be here, so I'm just like, you know what, let's let our walls down today. So yeah, it's protection is number one thing, especially when it comes to witchcraft. Always, even though there's so many things that you can do, just know that the first thing you should really get comfortable with is protection magic.
Absolutely.
You just never know what you can invite in. And it's just the best thing that you can do for yourself. But yeah, that's really weird because I thought, I'm like, protection's gonna be boring, but I really do love my protections for sure.
It's just 101, you know? You gotta protect yourself at any time.
Exactly. You don't know where you're going.
Exactly.
Better sage up and spray you down with some Florida water and you're good to go.
Yeah, I feel like cleansing versus protecting are two different things. So what's your favorite form of protecting yourself and then cleansing yourself? Because like protection is at the beginning of the day, like you have fresh energy, you just woke up, you're gonna walk out the door into the world. And then cleansing is like you get home and you just like release anything that you picked up that day. So what are your favorite methods? So
before I leave out the door, I always spray myself with some Florida water. I let it just kind of go over me, and whoever else is going with me, they're all getting sprayed down. And then when I get home, I do sage.
Okay,
to just kind of get it all out. So everybody knows when I'm doing something because like
they smell it in the air.
Yeah. Like my bestie, she'll be like, "What's that smell?" They're like, "Oh, she's saging." Oh, okay. So they know when I'm doing something.
How does your family feel about like the scents? Like, does it bother them? Do they like it?
So at first, my son did not like the scent of sage. he hated it. So I'm just like, okay.
Okay, little demon.
Right? I'm just like, well, now we know where the problem lies. But now he really does actually enjoy it, and he appreciates if I go into his room and I cleanse, because I'll cleanse the entire house. I'll cleanse closets, bathrooms, garage, kitchen. It don't matter. The pantry, everything's getting just cleansed and protected. But they're used to it. I think it's the norm for them. Whenever they come over, they're like, okay, she's gonna be doing some crazy shit. But my son is actually very, very accepting about it. And
oh, nice.
yeah, so you've met him, and he's quite a personality. He actually does have his gifts too, which are very intriguing, and I let him express it, and I don't give him any limits when it comes to his gifts, because I was done like that, and I feel like it suppressed me for a long time until now.
He got it from his mama.
Got it from his mama.
And yeah, it's amazing. Not only are you like this plant mom and like in the image of Gaia, but you're also like a mom. You have a son. How do you feel like you've broken some cycles with like how you raised him?
Oh boy. Girl, that's a long story. Let's just keep it short. I had to remove myself from the situation, and it was very scary because I was a baby raising a baby. I had my son when I was 18.
That is young, yeah.
Very young, and it's always been me and him, always, for the longest time. And he remembers a lot of fun things. We used to take the bus like before the sun came up and came home when the sun was down, because I was just out there making moves with him on my side. So, and then also placing him in a healthy environment, letting him know that he can express himself, especially when it comes to boys. How they're like, oh, boys don't cry, boys don't feel emotions. I let him know that it is very okay to feel angry, to feel sad, to cry, and don't feel like you need to hide that. So he is very much open, because I was told to stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about.
Oh God, yeah. I hated that. It's like, I'm already crying about something. What does that even mean?
Like, why are you crying? Well, you keep hitting me. Like, what do you want from me?
yeah. But like, for example, if he's like, Mom, I'm seeing things, Mom, I'm hearing things, like, it's probably so amazing that you're like, yeah, honey, that's normal for this family.
Yeah, he will. He actually, at the apartment when we lived in Turlock, he would see a shadow of a cat.
Oh.
And he told me, he's like, oh yeah, there's this cat that just goes in and out of my room and stuff like that. And I actually saw that sucker.
Wow.
And I thought it was a cat that would kind of go to our door sometimes, but it wasn't. It was the cat.
Oh my gosh.
And that was really cool. So if he does talk to me about things like, oh yeah, like I was talking to my friend and I saw their aura and I told them about it, and they're like, how did you know that? And it's just like, it's amazing. It's like, heck yeah, dude, you got a gift. Use it,
Absolutely. Well, I've seen so much growth in you, just like from when we've met, and like now you have Tamara's roots, but you have one more exciting endeavor. Did you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so me and my babe, Mike, we are going to be starting a podcast of our own. It's still in the works. We haven't done anything yet, but we do have our Instagram up. So it's called On Fridays We Wear Black. So it's really going to be kind of chronicles of the ADHD mind, because everybody in our house has ADHD and it's a circus in there. Either it's very loud or it's absolutely quiet, because we all need to
recharge.
Exactly. So it's very exciting. Hopefully we'll be getting it up, I think, by the end of November, or so by the end of that month, we'll be putting out our pilot and have something in the works. So I'm very excited about it.
That's very exciting. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And then you can learn more about Janet, her journey, and so much more by checking it out. And it's so great because we just had October 3rd, which is a Mean Girls holiday.
Yes.
So I love the title, On Fridays We Wear Black.
We wear black.
Do you wear black for protection magic or just because you like it?
Well, at first it was because I like it, but since I learned about color magic, definitely I'm wearing it now. And then my brown for like grounding and stuff like that. So I incorporate colors in my wardrobe because of color magic now.
Nice.
But plus, black is slimming, so I'm wearing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What would be your final piece of advice to someone who is dabbling in green witchery or just who wants to get their first plant in general?
So definitely do your research. But if you are thinking about maybe going into being more of a green witch, just know that it's whatever you want it to be. There's no right or wrong. As long as you have that protection there and you know where to take it, the universe is your oyster. There's really no right or wrong. Just as long as you're protecting yourself, I mean, that's just like number one for everything. But yeah, do your research. Hit me up. You can let me know and I can help you out. I have a really good book that I'm actually rereading right now. It's by Juliet Diaz and it's called Plant Witchery.
Ooh,
amazing book.
nice.
Very, very knowledgeable. She is definitely a plant witch. But I highly recommend that book. Go ahead and look for it. I got it at Hobby Lobby. Or not Hobby Lobby. I got it at Barnes & Nobles.
Yeah, very different stores.
Very different stores. Yeah, no, they don't like us there.
Yeah. Also, another beginner tip, don't get a begonia. Or
Don't get a begonia.
She gonna be begone.
If you want to start with your first plant, you can definitely reach out to me and I will ask you questions like, what's your environment? How much light do you get? And then that way I can let you know what plant would actually thrive in your environment.
Yeah, so what are your socials and do you have any events coming up?
So at this time, because I do propagate my own plants, they're not ready yet. So I really do want to keep that that authenticity to myself, that I'm not just like buying plants in bulk and then selling them all mature. Like I want to make sure that I'm actually putting in the work. So right now for events, not yet, but more to come. My socials is tamroots underscore tamrose underscore roots. And then also follow my fiance. He does photo booths for parties and all that. Very good pricing. So you can reach him at whiskerpix209.
And I'll tag y'all in the description and in the post and all of that, so you can follow Janet.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
I would love to hear from you guys.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being our first
Yay!
guest on the Experience Exchange. This was so much fun.
It was very fun. I definitely want to do this again.
Yes, my favorite green witch. All right. Thanks, everyone. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.